Welcome back to 80 BC history. Today you're going to learn about a real ancient Roman villa, which was like a country mansion that wealthy and important Romans lived in. This one was owned by a famous Roman called Pliny the Younger, who lived in the 1st century AD, and wrote a letter to his friend Gallus about how much he loved this beautiful house. I'm going to read it to you, podcast style, so feel free to either watch the visuals I've added on the screen, or just listen while you do something else. Pliny the Younger's villa was a real place that has actually been discovered by modern archaeologists, and if you want to see pictures of it, check out the link in the video description. And thanks to my friend Faya Faraji for writing the authentic Roman music which you'll hear in the background of this video. Check out his YouTube channel via the link in the description as well. A letter to Clusinius Gallus from Gaius Plinius Caecilius Secundus. You may wonder why my Laurentine place is such a joy to me, but once you realise the attractions of the house itself, the amenities of its situation, and its extensive seafront, you will have your answer. It is 17 miles from Rome, so that it is possible to spend the night there after necessary business is done, without having to cut short or hurry the day's work, and it can be approached by more than one route. The roads to Laurentum and Ostia both lead in that direction, but you must leave the one at the 14th milestone and the other at the 11th. Whichever way you go, the side road you take is sandy for some distance and rather heavy and slow going if you drive in a carriage, but soft and easily covered on horseback. The view on either side is full of variety, for sometimes the road narrows as it passes through the woods, and then it broadens and opens out through wide meadows where there are many flocks of sheep and herds of horses and cattle driven down from the mountains in winter to grow sleek on the pastures in the spring-like climate. The house is large enough for my needs, but not too expensive to maintain. It opens into a hall, unpretentious but not without dignity, and then there are 2 colonnades, rounded like the letter D, which enclose a small but pleasant courtyard. This makes a splendid retreat in bad weather, being protected by windows and still more by the overhanging roof. Opposite the middle of it is a cheerful inner hall, then a dining room, which really is rather fine. It runs out towards the shore, and whenever the sea is driven inland by the southwest wind, it is lightly washed by the spray of the spent breakers. It has folding doors or windows as large as the doors all round, so that at the front and sides it seems to look out onto 3 different seas at once. And at the back has a view through the inner hall, the courtyard with the 2 colonnades, and the entrance hall to the woods and mountains in the distance. To the left of this and a little farther back from the sea is a large bedroom, and then another smaller one, which lets in the morning sunshine with one window and holds the last rays of the evening sun with the other. From this window too is a view of the sea beneath, this time at a safe distance. In the angle of this room and the dining room is a corner which retains and intensifies the concentrated warmth of the sun, and this is the winter quarters and gymnasium of my household, for no winds can be heard there except those which bring the rain clouds, and the place can still be used after the weather has broken. Round the corner is a room built round in an apse, to let in the sun as it moves around and shines in each window in turn, and with one wall fitted with shelves like a library to hold the books which I read and read again. Next comes a bedroom on the other side of the passage, which has a floor raised and fitted with pipes to receive hot steam and circulate it at a regulated temperature. The remaining rooms on this side of the house are kept for the use of my slaves and freedom, but most of them are quite presentable enough to receive proper guests. Then comes the cooling room of the bath, which is large and spacious and has 2 curved baths built out of opposite walls. These are quite large enough if you consider that the sea is so near. Next come the oiling room, the furnace room, and the antechamber to the bath, then 2 rest rooms, beautifully decorated in a simple style, leading to the heated swimming bath, which is much admired and from which swimmers can see the ocean. Close by is the ball court, which receives the full warmth of the setting sun. Here there is a second story, with 2 living rooms below and 2 above, as well as a dining room which commands the whole expanse of sea and stretch of shore with all its lovely houses. Elsewhere, another upper story contains a room which receives both the rising and setting sun, and a good-sized wine store and granary behind, while below is a dining room where nothing is known of a high sea but the sound of the breakers, and even that as a dying murmur. It looks on to the garden and the encircling drive. All round the drive runs a hedge, or rosemary, to fill any gaps, for the hedge will flourish extensively where it is sheltered by the buildings, but dries up if exposed in the open to the wind and salt spray even at a distance. Inside the inner ring of the drive is a young and shady vine pergola, where the soil is soft and yielding even to the bare feet. The garden itself is thickly planted with mulberries and figs, trees which the soil bears very well, though it is less kind to others. On this side, the dining room away from the sea has a view as lovely as that of the sea itself, while from the windows of the two rooms behind can be seen the entrance to the house and another well-stocked kitchen garden. Here begins a covered arcade nearly as large as a public building. It has windows on both sides, but more facing the sea, as there is one in each alternate bay on the garden side. These all stand open on a fine and windless day, and in stormy weather can safely be opened on the side away from the wind. In front is a terrace scented with violets. At the far end of the terrace, the arcade and the garden is a suite of rooms which are really and truly my favourites, for I had them built myself. Here is a sun parlour facing the terrace on one side, the sea on the other, and the sun on both. There is also a room which has folding doors opening onto the arcade, and a window looking out on the sea. Opposite the intervening wall is a beautifully designed alcove which can be thrown into the room by folding back its glass doors and curtains, or cut off from it if they are closed. It is large enough to hold a couch and 2 armchairs, and has the sea at its foot, the neighbouring villas behind, and the woods beyond, views of which can be seen separately from its many windows or blended into one. Next to it is a bedroom for use at night, which neither the voices of my household, the sea's murmur, nor the noise of a storm can penetrate, any more than the lightning's flash and light of day unless the shutters are open. This profound peace and seclusion are due to the dividing passage which runs between the room and the garden, so that any noise is lost in the intervening space. A tiny furnace room is built on here, and by a narrow outlet retains or circulates the heat underneath as required. When I retire to this suite, I feel as if I have left my house altogether, and much enjoy the sensation, especially during the festival of Saturnalia, when the rest of the roof resounds with festive cries in the holiday freedom, for I am not disturbing my household's merrymaking, nor are they disturbing my work. Only one thing is needed to complete the amenities and beauty of the house: running water. But there are wells, or rather springs, for they are very near the surface. It is in fact a remarkable characteristic of this shore that whenever you dig, you come upon water at once, which is pure and not in the least salty, although the sea is so near. The woods close by provide plenty of firewood, and the town of Ostia supplies us with everything else. There is also a village just beyond the next house, which can satisfy anyone's modest needs. And here there are 3 baths for hire, a great convenience if a sudden arrival or too short a stay makes us reluctant to heat up the bath at home. The seafront gains much from the pleasing variety of the houses built either in groups or far apart. From the sea or shore, these look like a number of cities. The sand on the shore is sometimes too soft for walking after a long spell of fine weather, but more often it is hardened by the constant washing of the waves. The sea has admittedly few fish of any value, but it gives us excellent soles and prawns, and all inland produce is provided by the house, especially milk, for the herds collect there from the pastures whenever they seek water and shade. And now, do you think I have a good case for making this retreat my haunt and home where I love to be? You are too polite a townsman if you don't covet it for yourself, but I hope you will, for then the many attractions of my treasured house will have another strong recommendation in your company. Thanks for listening. If you want to learn more about ancient Rome, check out this video on the politics and power struggles of the Roman Senate. My name is Dan, and I'll see you next time on 80 BC History.